Today on Public Eye News, 4 people were killed and 17 injured in a multi-car crash involving a semi-truck, and later tornadoes batter Oklahoma, leaving thousands without power.
The one and only Luke Niddle has a look into the weather around the UP, and later a sports report you won't want to miss. I'm Reed Hall.
And I'm Bianca Kroll, and this is Public Eye News. A section of Interstate 96 in southeast Michigan was shut down after a semi-truck crashed into multiple stalled vehicles Sunday night. Traffic on I-96 was stopped temporarily as utility crews were finishing up work on the power lines in the area. A semi-truck with a trailer heading westbound had not noticed the traffic and could not stop in time. Michigan State Police said more than a dozen vehicles were involved in the crash and had caught fire. Police had confirmed 4 dead and 17 injured that were transported to a nearby hospital. Authorities cleaning up said they were unsure when the interstate would open back up that night. As reported by Michigan State Police at 6:26 a.m., the interstate is open back up and is advised to drive safely and be aware of traffic in front of you. And Michigan has seen fewer active registered voters from recent data from the Michigan State Department. Michigan is a swing state when it comes to voting for elections, which both candidates have visited during this time. More than 8.4 million are registered voters in the state, but 7.2 million of these voters are active. Michigan has noticed that there are fewer active voters than those who are eligible voters. Some voters are also marked inactive if they haven't updated their voter registration. This has been a noticeable problem as people move from state to state. Many safeguards are set in place to ensure that eligible voters vote the way they're supposed to. Voting more than once in a federal election is a federal offense and can be punishable by a fine of $10,000 or 5 years in prison.
This upcoming weekend marks the 10th anniversary of the 41 North Film Festival hosted by Michigan Tech. This year's festivities will bring a new experience for film goers, featuring a one-of-a-kind documentary, Eno, that will be different for each viewing audience. A 2024 film about musician Brian Eno uses generative artificial intelligence to create a unique show each time the film plays. Other film topics will range from hummingbird rescue and small-town radio telescope to the business of grief in a world with AI. The film festival will be housed in Michigan Tech's Rouza Center for Performing Arts, and all films will be free and open to the public. The festival will also feature music, panel discussions, and kid-friendly workshops. If you are interested in learning more about the film's full schedule and film descriptions, visit 41northfilmfest.mtu.edu. And back here on campus, where Northern Michigan University Arts and Entertainment is set to welcome multi-platinum solo artists Chelsea Cutler and Jeremy Zucker. The duo will be making a stop at the Barry Event Center on Saturday, November 16th as part of Brent Forever, the tour. Cutler and Zucker will perform their fan-favorite songs, You Were Good to Me and This Is How You Fall in Love, as well as music from their newly released album that dropped today. Doors for the concert will open at 6 p.m. with opener Adam Paddock set to take the stage at 7 and Cutler and Zucker on at 8. Advanced tickets for students are $15 for seats and $20 for the floor. General public tickets are $25 for seats and $30 for the floor, with day of show ticket purchases set at $35. You can grab your tickets at tickets.nmu.edu. And with Election Day around the corner, the U.S. government has been pressured to end the war in Gaza. Many voters are choosing to mark uncommitted at the top of their ballot due to the handling of the conflict. CBS News reporter Chanel Call has more.
Hind Omar is a Palestinian-American mother from Ann Arbor, Michigan. She and her husband Andrew are longtime Democrats who feel let down by the party.
We canvassed for Biden, we showed up for Biden, and this experience during his administration, under his watch, has been a betrayal.
Watching the ongoing war in Gaza, where more than 40,000 Palestinians have been killed, Hind and her entire family are considering leaving the presidential box on the ballot blank.
Where the Democratic Party used to be the soft place that we would land has now become the aggression against our community.
It's a major vulnerability for Vice President Harris, who's been criticized for a lack of outreach to the community. Her speech this week in Ann Arbor was interrupted by a group protesting the war.
We all want this war to end as soon as possible and get the hostages out, and I will do everything in my power to make it so.
4 years ago, President Biden won Michigan with just over 150,000 votes. Now, the over 200,000 largely disillusioned Arab and Muslim American voters here could swing the election to former President Donald Trump, who has said Israel should, quote, finish what they started.
Are you comfortable with the fact that an uncommitted vote could lead to a Trump victory?
I am not, because that administration will be staunchly worse for our community.
So how are you squaring this?
This level of betrayal, no one even saw it coming. And so that's what people are reconciling with right now.
People like Joshua Feinstein, a Jewish American Democrat who has family in Lebanon.
I speak to them daily. They are being bombed. Sorry for the emotion.
Israel's invasion of Lebanon has pushed Feinstein to vote for the Green Party's Jill Stein over Harris.
I'm not voting to punish anyone. I'm not making a protest. I'm saying my vote hasn't been earned.
Now, this group of powerful voters are sending a final message.
You are not committed to us. We will not be committed to you.
To a party they've been largely loyal to for generations. Chanel Call, CBS News, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Now don't touch that dial. We'll be back with weather and your national news after this break.
Nearly 1 in 3 Upper Michigan residents enrolled in Medicare this time of year can bring about stress, confusion, and indecision, all because of the annual Medicare open enrollment period. On the next Media Meet, our Medicare experts are back to discuss the latest tweaks in Medicare coverage so that you can decide whether changes to your plan are warranted. Your 2024 Medicare update is next time on Media Meet.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm your anchorman, Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our weather forecast. Starting off with the campus cam behind me, as you can see, it's kind of cloudy outside, a little bit gloomy here today. Looking towards the rest of our map, starting off in Houghton, it's 55 and cloudy. As a matter of fact, all around the UP, it's going to be cloudy with some showers. Over in both Irons, it's going to be 57. Down south in Menominee, it's going to be 60. Moving towards the east side of our board, in Escanaba, it's going to be 55 and some showers. Over in Manistee, also 55. In the Sioux, 53, more showers. And back in our lovely Marquette, 59 and some fog. Winds are going to be north-northeast at 11 miles an hour, and our barometric pressure, 29.69 inches and falling. To tonight, cloudy, low 55, winds west-northwest at 5 miles an hour, and our moon phase, waxing crescent. Looking towards tomorrow, we're going to have some showers with a high of 49, a low of 41, and winds north-northeast, 13 miles an hour. Looking ahead towards the rest of our week, Wednesday, it's going to be a high of 50, low of 36. Sun's going to start to peek out a little bit. Thursday, high of 52, peaks out a little more with a low of 40. Friday, same story, high of 53, low of 36. That's all I have for weather. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Luke, for that weather update. I'm definitely looking forward to the higher 50 temperatures there. But now moving into the national news, Oklahoma recently suffered from severe storms and tornadoes that caused major damage to the state. The storms were tossing cars and ripping roofs off of buildings in the state in the middle of the night. This left many homes and buildings with no power. About 99,000 Oklahoma homes and businesses lost power during the storms, but no fatalities were reported from the storms. Authorities say 11 people were injured and are being hospitalized for their injuries. The state heard the tornado warnings going off, and lots of heavy rain caused the flash flooding. Richard Thompson, forecast chief for the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center, said more than 6 or more tornadoes had hit the state. Parts of the state are still at risk for more heavy rainfall and storms that are heading their way. And as Election Day approaches, both candidates are pushing to get things done. Vice President Kamala Harris is spending today in Pennsylvania as the 19 electoral votes could offer a large prize in the Electoral College outcome. Harris plans to visit working class areas and end with a late-night rally in Philadelphia that will include Lady Gaga and Oprah Winfrey. Former President Donald Trump has kicked off 4 rallies in 3 states and is addressing a big crowd in Raleigh, North Carolina. Trump plans to talk about the immigration that Harris and Biden let in and is renewing his slogans. Trump's campaign says that he attracts more of the younger and working class voters. Both candidates are getting to the end as Election Day starts tomorrow. And are you finding your life ruled by your smartphone? If so, well, you're not the only one. Many are now switching to what are being called dumb phones, which lack many of the features that keep some of us glued to our devices. Jolene Kink has more. Take a look.
We've all done it.
I cannot go to bed without looking for at least 2 hours on my phone.
And I'm scrolling on Instagram unnecessarily.
Now, many are fed up. A growing number of Americans are ditching their smartphones for old-school dumb phones.
Remember those epic hang-ups?
In 2021, dumb phone sales made up under 1% of the mobile phone market. In 2022, it doubled to 2%, accounting for more than 6 million Americans. Daisy Krigbon and Will Stoltz found themselves each spending around 6 hours a day on their smartphones. So 2 years ago, the The couple decided to go dumb.
When was the moment that you realized, okay, I have a big problem with technology?
When it prevented me from sleeping for years on end.
For me, it's when I realized I would go to a social setting and I would want to leave the room just to be on my phone.
But finding a simpler phone was harder than they thought.
That's when we got the idea we should just create a one-stop shop.
So they converted their East Los Angeles dining room into a new business, Dumb Wireless.
I'd say the most popular right now is the Light Phone 2. It's this little e-ink phone.
That's cute.
It's just talk and text and a couple other simple tools.
Stoltz and Krigbaum both admit switching to a dumb phone is hard for most customers at first. But they believe something has got to change.
Is it a radical move to switch from a smartphone to a dumb phone?
I think it's radical to hand your life over to any phone, a smartphone. I think that's pretty radical. This isn't the next step for everybody, but this is a next step, and we hope that more and more people will take it.
Jolene Kent, CBS News, Los Angeles.
We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
We cover all the angles. We report the facts. We find clarity. PBS is here, delivering the credible, reliable, thoughtful election coverage you need to make informed decisions. PBS, your trusted election source.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. Once again, I'm Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our Monday breakdown. Leading off in the Barry, it was officially rivalry weekend on the ice, as the showdown between NMU and Michigan Tech marked the second week in a row the two schools played each other. In Game 1, the Huskies stepped all over Northern's paws, scoring 3 and allowing none. As the puck dropped in Game 2 on Saturday in Houghton, it looked to be more of the same, with Tech drawing first blood just 32 seconds into play. But as the first period wound down, the Cats scored 3 straight for a 3-1 lead heading into period number 2. The Huskies made some adjustments, though, and scored 5 straight goals to close the game out, including 2 empty netters. A lack of shots killed the Cats, being outpaced 43-17. NMU now looks towards another home series this weekend, where they host Lake Superior State for the Capo Cup. And sticking around on campus, it was the final home game for the NMU football team last Saturday, as they had a tall task in trying to knock off number 2 Ferris State. It was a close game through the first quarter, with Northern only down 7-0, but in the second quarter and beyond, the Bulldogs kicked it into overdrive, scoring 41 total points between the second and third quarters. When the dust settled, the score was a rather unusual 55-9 final, thanks to a missed point after by the Dogs and the Cats grabbing a block punt safety in the first half. Ferris improves to 8-1 on the year and will continue their terror on the GLIAC next Saturday against Saginaw Valley State. For the Wildcats, they fall to 0-9 and begin their final push of the season, a 2-game road trip, starting with Davenport next Saturday. And ending off down south, it was a mudfest in Lambeau Field as the Green Bay Packers hosted the Detroit Lions for a potential changing of the guard for first place in the NFC North. Even with buckets of rain all game long and a Brian Branch ejection for targeting, the Lions pushed the pace for 60 minutes, only giving up 6 points through 3 quarters. While the Pack outgained the Lions 411 to 261, they couldn't punch it in when it mattered. With the win, Motown maintains top dog status in the North with a 7-1 record, while GB falls to third place at 6-3 due to a Vikings win over the Colts. The Lions now prep for a road game against the Texans, while the Packers go 200 miles south to Chicago for a war with the Bears. That's all I have for sports. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Luke, for that sports update. Big win for the Lions yesterday. Did you happen to catch that game?
I didn't, but I did hear about it, and it sounded really good. And I think it would have been a good game to actually watch as well if I made it.
Yeah, it was pretty hard-fought game overall.
That is all the time we have at Public Eye News. I am Bianca Kroll.
I'm Reed Hall.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.